What's up, everybody? So I like to talk about cars a lot, and I like to talk about what kind of cars you can get for a good value and good prices and such. So I decided to make a video on it. This video is going to cover just 5 cars that you can get for less than $5,000, but they're fun ones. And really just diving right into it, the first one is a 2002 Volvo S60. I believe they call it Type R or R Design. Basically, it's the turbocharged all-wheel drive version. This Volvo has a 2.3 liter turbocharged engine, makes about 250 horsepower, and matches that torque figure. 0 to 60 time of the Volvo is about 7 seconds, which isn't mind-blowing, but you got to remember you're in a Volvo that's extremely fast, so it's going to have that sleeper look to it, which kind of makes it a little bit more exciting. You could probably beat some of your friends' cars in a Volvo, which is highly unexpected in the car world. The styling is a little more on the modest side, I would say. Like I said, it would have a little more of a sleeper look to it. There really isn't a whole lot of performance looking about its exterior, but you got to remember the interior, the seats are fantastic in those. And Volvos, safety is part of their luxury. So Volvos have extremely well bolstered seats with extremely comfortable headrests. They're basically like sports seats in every single Volvo. So you can't really go wrong with that. You're getting the highest trim as well. So you're gonna have the heated seats and of course the leather that comes in every Volvo, but you're gonna have all those top of the line features for 2002. That's gonna get more value for your money. You can find these with about 100,000 miles on them for $5,000 or so. Next on the list is going to be a 2005 Nissan 350Z. Now, people who know cars or familiar with the 350Z, they know that it's a performance machine. It's the second fastest on this list, and it's really just built for performance. There's not much practicality about it. It's 2 doors, it's built on the Nissan GTR's platform, and of course it's got the Nissan 3.5 liter V6 engine. That engine cranks out about 290 horsepower and a pretty equal torque figure as well, so it's not only going to feel fast, but it's going to feel torquey at the same time. It's a lightweight car, and 0 to 60 comes in at about 5.6 seconds. So the 350Z is going to be really fun to drive. It looks aggressive, it'll turn some heads, and you got to remember the 350Z is going to be pretty reliable as well. It was fairly low volume. I'm sure they didn't expect to sell millions of them, so they probably focused a little bit more on the reliability of the designs. So if you have trouble with it, they're pretty easy to work on, but most likely you won't have a whole lot of issues. It does come in a manual transmission as well, which is exciting, and it's rear-wheel drive, so I'm pretty certain burnouts could be possible in a 350Z. Next on the list is a 1994 Mazda Miata. So it's the oldest one on the list, and everybody's probably thinking, why would you pay $5,000 for a car from the 90s? Usually that's a pretty tough question to answer, except for the Miata is a lot different from any car from the 90s. I mean, it was way ahead of its time in performance. It's not going to be the fastest thing on this list. I think 0 to 60 time is about 8 seconds, but because you're so low to the ground, you still feel like you're going fast all the time. Its little engine makes about 120 horsepower, but it weighs 2,300 pounds. So regardless of that, it still feels pretty torquey and pretty fun and pretty quick. The best part about it is that the engine, it likes to rev out. So with that kind of power figure, you can beat the crap out of the engine all day, and you're still going to be going a legal speed limit, and the engine can take it. The 90s Miatas are extremely reliable. I've got a friend with one, and he's had very minimal problems with them, and if he does, they're really easy to work on, and they have a huge aftermarket. You can find one of those with a little bit higher mileage, probably 120,000 miles for less than $5,000, but they're durable and they're a lot of fun. They're probably definitely worth it. Next on the list is a 2005 Volkswagen GTI VR6. Now the VR6, granted, it is a pretty dying engine at this stage of life. I think modern day I think they offer the VR6 in one engine, and it might be the Passat with the V6. But back in the day, it was pretty revolutionary for what it was. It cranked out a good amount of power in a reliable way. The 2005 GTI, it made about 200 horsepower and also matched that figure in torque. So it had a good linear acceleration curve, and it was torquey. The only hindrance to it was that it was front wheel drive, so it probably had a lot more torque steer than its competitors that were rear wheel drive, and that would hinder the acceleration figure. That came in at around 6.5 seconds, as opposed to the competition usually being about 5.8. But this is the GTI VR6, so it's going to handle extremely well. And not to mention, you're at the top tier trim of the GTI, so you get the leather seats and basically all those top features of having the highest trim. GTI in its V6 version and its 1.8T version, they have a huge aftermarket support. They're very, very adaptable to modding. Volkswagen's probably the easiest cars to mod. And they have tuning options as well if you wanted to buy an aftermarket flash tune or maybe a standalone tuner. There's plenty of those out there for Volkswagen. The GTI can be found with about 100,000 miles, 90,000 miles on it for $5,000. And the last on the list is the 2002 bug-eye Subaru WRX, or I should say Subaru Impreza WRX. That was back when the Impreza and the WRX shared the same trim. So this WRX, it has that classic 2.5 liter flat boxer engine, the flat 4 as they call it, with the turbocharger on it. It made about 227 horsepower, I believe, and pretty similar torque. And this is kind of amazing, is the 0 to 60 time was about 5.6 seconds. The power was lower than the 350Z, but it still managed a 5.6 second 0 to 60 time. And that's probably attributed to its all-wheel drive system that every Subaru has. It allows it to get more of the grip off the line than the rear-wheel drive 350Z does, regardless of power. The weight figures are about the same, and that's where the Subaru wins, is somehow they fit all-wheel drive on it, and they kept the weight around the same figure as the 350Z. Subarus are extremely reliable. It's hard to find them for a great price because of their resale value and their durability. So you can find them with about 120,000 miles on it for $5,000. I guess similar to the Miata's kind of tier. I'd say the only drawback to having the WRX is it's a little bit smaller if you're worried about practicality, and it is susceptible to rust. The Subarus of that time period were kind of rust buckets, honestly. So make sure you find one that doesn't have rust on it, and then get it washed every winter. That's it for this video. There's definitely going to be more to come of this type. I really enjoy making these kind of videos because I love talking to people about cars and basically suggesting ones that they may like and what might fit their life and still be fun. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy. There's going to be a lot of similar content and a little bit of a mixture as well. I'll probably mix things up. Like the video if you enjoyed, and with that, I'll see you next time.